Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of the Monsters Den. Look who's back. Mr. Rich Catino in the co-captain's chair. What's happening, my friend? How are you?
All right, how are we doing? How's everybody doing?
Doing good, doing good. Happy to have you back.
The day after the storm?
The day after the storm. Yeah, Rich and I were just talking off camera about the ridiculous amount of rain that New York and New Jersey got. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. I would love to know how many inches we got here in the Hudson Valley. I would love to know because it was just crazy.
It's a lot here. It's all over the place. It's 8, 10, whatever. I don't know. Depends what towns you're in, what area you're in, low, high ground. It's bad all over,
Yeah, yeah. But the sun was out today. The sun was shining.
Yeah.
It was a little cooler, so we'll see how it goes. So today, we got a little bit of a change of schedule for today. Originally, Chris Allo and I were going to do the Camp Blood episode. Something came up for Chris, so we're going to postpone that till next Thursday. I dialed up Rich. He was free. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something that wasn't planned for a couple of weeks, and we're going to slot it in here tonight. And we've had a lot of people asking for this. We're going to rank our 5 favorite Stephen King film or miniseries adaptations. So for those of you who follow the Stephen King stuff, there's like 50 of them. I think I went
looking at the list now. There's a lot.
It's a shit ton of them. It's like, holy cow! I couldn't believe.
And there's a bunch coming up that I didn't even know. He's got stuff coming up now too. There's upcoming films. Did you know that?
I hadn't heard, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, there's a whole list of maybe 10, 15 here that are still that's coming up. Yeah.
He's got to be the guy that has had the most movies or miniseries made out of his books. It's almost like he knows that when he publishes a book, eventually they're going to make a film on it or something.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking too, when you told me about the topic, is he one of the only horror writers or one of the few that's never done a slasher movie? I was looking at all his movies. I haven't seen everything, but when I was looking at here, I was like, has he ever done a slasher movie? I don't think so.
You probably are right, because I even like some of the films based on books that could be considered that. There's always this weird supernatural element. No, you know what? I don't think he's ever written a slasher, an out and out slasher film book. I don't think so.
I'd be curious. That'd be really interesting.
So. But he's a fan, because I've seen plenty of quotes from him about classic slasher films where they you buy the Blu-ray or the DVD and there's a quote from Stephen King saying this is the best, horror or slasher film ever made. So he loves that stuff. Why has he never really written like a just bona fide slasher book? Which it's a great question. Yeah, I honestly don't think so. I don't think so.
Maybe because so many people have done it, he avoided it.
That could be. It could be. I'd love to see him take a shot at it, though. I'd have to really go do the research, though, because I'm like, there's probably, he's done a couple kind of serial killer books.
Yeah.
But that sort of qualifies, but not, because I know what you're talking about, and I don't think there's anything quite like that.
Right, not a Michael, Jason, Freddy, Leatherface type of character.
No, and a lot of his stuff has got this like supernatural elements to him, or the guy is a genius. I mean, he's my favorite author. He has been for like 30, 35 years. I think he's one of those guys, because he went through, like a lot of authors do, like a lot of filmmakers do, early on, so many great books. And then he had like a little bit of a spell, like in the 90s, where, some of those books aren't as great as others. But I think like in the last decade, he's killing it again. I mean, I read all the stuff.
I haven't read anything. Do you have any recommendations? Because I haven't read any of his in a long time, honestly.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I would say The Outsider is terrific. I would say the whole he did like a trilogy, Mr. Mercedes, and I'm forgetting the names. I'll send it to you offline, but he did a whole trip. The Hodges. What's the guy's first name? There's something, I'm drawing a complete blank. I got the olds. Anyway, yeah, he's done some really, really good ones. I'm reading Under the Dome right now, which was also made into a miniseries. That's like massive. It's like it's taken me forever to read it. But yeah, he's written a lot. I'll give you like 5 really good recommendations offline, because he's done a lot of good ones. But anyway, back to the films or the miniseries. So So we've each picked out 5, maybe, well, we'll get to that in a second, but
honorable mentions.
Yeah. And this was for me pretty hard, because there are like, I think I have the 5 or so that I really love the most, but there are another 3, 4, or 5 that I think are top notch as well. It's just, there's the top tier, and then there's others that are just really good, and there's a lot of shitty ones too. I mean, let's be real.
There's
a lot of bad ones, a lot of bad ones. And sometimes, quantity doesn't always equal quality. So we were talking before about how he's had so many of his works turned into film projects or miniseries. You got to wonder, because I mean, they're taking like short stories, and I mean, they're just making stuff from everything he's ever done. And sometimes, put the brakes on and let's do some smaller amount really, really well, which is what they did originally. But now it's just like anything he publishes, they're like, all right, let's do a film on it. Or let's do it.
And maybe he doesn't get so much the hands-on with it to oversee some of it too, and that's why it doesn't come out as good as it should.
Yeah, exactly. So with that being said, I'll have Rich kick us off with his number 5.
All right, so I don't have them in, it's not really my favorite order, but these are my 5 favorites, I would say. So I'm going first with Carrie from 1976. Always was a big fan of this. Really creepy, really felt bad for the lead character. She's bullied throughout the whole movie from her mother, her students in the school. You can see why she takes her telekinetic powers and uses them for bad, because she's just pushed over the edge.
Yeah.
She wants to do good, but she just gets pushed too far.
Yeah.
She uses it for the dark side of the force.
It's a frightening movie, and it's a fantastic performance by her and Piper Laurie, who plays her mother. Right.
What was her name? Sissy Spacek.
Yeah, Sissy Spacek. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, John Travolta's in it too.
Yep, and Nancy Allen.
PJ Souls from.
That's right. Yep.
Right, he's in it, and the other girl with the dark hair. What was her name?
Nancy Allen. Nancy Allen.
What's her name?
Nancy Allen.
Nancy Allen. Yes. No. Not Nancy Allen. From Halloween. One of the friends that's walking down the street. Isn't she one of the other girls? She's the bitch too, also in the story.
Yeah. I forget her name. Yes, exactly.
Oh, what's her name? I gotta find the cast now. She's in this too. She's one of the friends.
She plays a smaller role. Yeah.
No, wait, no, she's not a jerk. I think she tries to help her. That's her character.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I know. I'm drawing a little bit of a blank too. She's the girl with the dark curly hair. Yeah, she does try to help her, because I remember when there's that scene when Carrie's mother goes to visit her mother, when she's trying to sell her the Bible stuff and she's trying to get her to donate. I think later in the film, she has sympathy for Carrie, right?
Yes. Now I'm trying to think. I'm trying to picture who it is, because she does. So Nancy Allen was dating Travolta in the film.
Correct. Yes, that's right. Yes, she was the blonde.
Right.
Like the cheerleader girl, the big girl, the real popular one, in the school.
Yeah. And she was like a regular Brian De Palma's films at the time. In fact, I think she was dating him for a while. Yeah. But yeah, great film. Creepy.
Oh, I know Amy Irving.
Amy Irving. Yes, that's right. Yes.
Amy Irving. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can picture her face, and I'm just like, what the hell is her name? Yeah.
Yes.
Soon to be Spielberg's wife at some point. Not too long.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good choice.
I love the story. Yeah, it's a great story. You really feel bad for her, sympathetic for Carrie. She tries to work with her telekinetic powers. Her mother doesn't want to hear anything about it, because she was really into the Bible, and she's trying to push that onto the daughter. Her daughter doesn't want any part of it. She's always putting her in that closet with the crucifix and making her pray. That's the scary. I thought that was so scary when I was younger, and it's still scary.
It's disturbing.
Trying to push that whole religious thing on her, and she doesn't let her think for herself. And she's got that crucifix in the closet, and she's trying to, pray to God to help her. Yeah, Great story.
Yeah, it is. It's just I mean, it's my favorite De Palma film, for one. I think the directing is great. I think the acting is great. It's a great cast, and it's most of the cast kind of grew up on that film, and then we saw them in all sorts of other things going forward afterward.
Yeah.
But I think it's
Yeah.
just and the last half hour is just spine-tingling entertainment, right? It's
Yes.
just awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the power, her power unleashed. It's like there's like this whole buildup throughout the whole film where it's like,
Right. She does these little things like
Yeah.
kicks the kid off the bicycle, and the car crashes, and there's a couple of, when the climax at the end of the movie, that's like you're saying, the last 20 minutes or so. That's where she really unleashes it.
Everybody reaches the breaking point at some point, right? So yeah, and you feel bad for her. And it's just like that's it. Yeah. Great film.
Yeah. And one of those last shots of the movie when she's back, she's not in the closet, but that last shot of the closet and the crucifix.
Yep.
How scary is that?
Yeah.
It's so subtle, but just the lighting and the glowing eyes, you feel that when you see that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's my number 5 as well. I'm gonna pull a mulligan here. I'm also gonna go tie for number 5 because I couldn't leave it off with Salem's Lot, the original miniseries condensed into the almost 3-hour film, right?
Right.
I love that as well. So and I think that even though it's a little long, I think it's a great vampire tale, and I think
great looking vampire too. One of the best looking vampires.
Hell yeah!
Very very Nosferatu.
Yep, Count Orlok, right? Isn't that Orlok? They called him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really creepy. I think what's his face from Starsky and Hutch, I think, did a really good job in there, and it's just creepy. And I like the fact that they brought like the whole tale of vampires into the Stephen King setting, New Hampshire or Maine, wherever the hell it is, Maine, because so many of his stories take place in that rural setting. And I think it was kind of cool that they brought like the whole vampire thing into like small town USA, which is a lot of his books kind of fall into that pattern. So yeah, so I'm going to have a tie for number 5 with The Great Carrie and with Salem's Lot. By the way, this is a great Blu-ray box set for anybody looking to get this and save some room on the shelf. Got Salem's Lot, The Shining, Creepshow, Cat's Eye, It, the original miniseries, Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, and Dreamcatcher. Dreamcatcher and Cat's Eye are not that good, but everything else on there is.
Yeah, Cat's Eye, I was just going to say too. That's another one. It's a clunker. Yeah. Cat's Eye and Firestarter, not good.
I have a lot of relationship with Firestarter. There are times I don't mind it, and there are times I'm like, God, this is boring.
Right. Yeah.
I don't mind it. It's not one of my favorites by any means, but I don't dislike it, but I find it's a little long-winded. I think could have been better.
Yeah.
So, all right, back to you, number 4.
Okay. Going with, and I know I brought this movie up before when we were talking about, I don't know what the topic was, but I did bring it up that I had a new appreciation for it, was The Dead Zone.
Oh, hell yeah.
Remember what the topic was? I forgot it when I brought that one up.
It was Cronenberg. We did the Cronenberg ranking.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely got a new appreciation for this. And it's more of a drama thriller, not really a horror movie, I'd say.
Yep.
With about Christopher Walken with his telekinetic, not telekinetic, his foreseeing the future or the past. He's able to, I'm confused now with Carrie now. He's able to see things that are happening before they actually happen.
Right.
He tries to forewarn people about that, and they never believe him. But then they find out that it's actually true. These things start happening. He becomes kind of a celebrity for what he does.
Yep.
But it turns out to be, tragic for him in the end if you haven't seen it. But it's well written, well directed. Christopher Walken's great always anyway, right?
He is. He's very understated in this film, but you just take your eyes off of him, right? Yeah, and you really feel for him.
Right. And he gets this power from a car crash, correct?
Yep. Yep.
Remember correctly? Yeah, because I haven't watched it.
Yeah, he's in a coma for like 5 years.
Yes, in a coma. Right.
He wakes up and
wakes up from the coma, and that's how he has these powers.
Yeah, he wakes up. He's got these powers. His former fiance has like decided to move on, and she gets remarried, and he's like, what the hell, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a David Cronenberg movie, and it came out in 1970. No, the novel was 1979. When did it come out? 83.
Yeah, 83. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
83.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one. I was reading something on that
So,
today
yes.
where someone was saying, to kind of summarize the whole film, it's like if it was like 1938 and you saw into the future and you saw what Adolf Hitler was going to become, would you go out of your way to put a stop to it before it actually happened? And that basically, without giving too much away about the plot of the film, that is the this whole thing. So he is able to see this really screwed up shit that's going to happen in the future. And do you do something about it, or you just let history go its course?
Right. And he is able to help a few people too in the story.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Big time. Yeah. It's a great choice. More about that in a minute, I guess. I'm going to go with my number 4. Could rank higher. I love it. It's so much fun. I'm going to go with Creepshow. I'm even wearing the shirt tonight. So there you have it. Creepshow is.
Well, you're not gonna say that you're pulling one of my numbers where you're picking a movie that's not actually one of the movies that he directed, but he's got a story in the movie.
Well, I mean, he didn't direct it, but all the stories are from his his books and stuff. Yeah, I mean, George Romero directed it, but it's all based on Stephen short stories. Creepshow is a blast. I have to say, Creepshow is probably one of the best anthology horror films ever, if it's not the best in the top 3. I mean, every story is just so much fun, and I mean,
it set the standard. Really, it did set the standard.
Yeah. I mean, even though they were doing them back in the 70s, but this kind of brought it into the future, right? And now it was okay to do anthologies again. Then you had Tales from the Crypt,
which we talked about. We talked about those two, as Tales from the Crypt and the Vault of Fear, right? That was the 2 movies that were Hammer or Amicus. I forgot who did that. Or Tygon.
Amicus, yeah, Amicus.
Amicus.
Yep.
Yeah, which were cool too, but I think the Creepshow set the standard for doing a cool anthology thing.
Yeah, I mean, so many great short stories. You got the, I want my cake, and then the Adrian Barbeau one with the creature in the cage. I mean,
but that's the Crate. Love the Crate. Yeah. Nice and gory too, with when the creature comes out and kills people.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And what's his face? With burying people on the beach. Leslie Nielsen, and it's just,
Nielsen.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So, and I have grown. I always liked it, but I have grown a greater appreciation for Creepshow in the last couple of years. And it's just, but that goes to show you that's how you take a Stephen King short story, and you make like little mini 20-minute movies, right? And put a bunch of them in film, as opposed to taking a 50-page short story and trying to make a 2.5-hour movie out of it, right?
Right.
I think Creepshow did a fantastic job of taking those short stories and making them little mini features and doing it really good and just knocking it out of the park. So.
Yeah, and the Crypt Keeper with the pages, the story and the comic book, connecting to everybody's love for comic books too. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a well done. Like I said, could have ranked higher, but top 5 is top 5. So that's my number 4.
I like the second one too. I know a lot of people don't like the second one.
I like it a lot. I think it's really good. It's not quite as good, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna make my change right now. I'm gonna pick Creepshow 2 as my next one, and I'm gonna pick it for The Raft.
Cool. Yeah, The Raft is good.
I'm gonna throw that in there because I'm just looking at the list here, and that's based on his story, The Raft.
Yeah.
When they go swimming in the lake, and that black sludge comes up and it's moving around in the lake, and they don't know what it is, and it's like the Blob, basically.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Yeah,
grabbing them and pulling them into the water.
No matter where they go, right? It just kind of follows them around. Yeah,
so good. I have a high appreciation for the second one, even though I prefer the first one.
Yeah.
But the second one with that, the Indian one that scalps the guy.
Yep.
And the guy that gets hit by the car on the street, he keeps on haunting the lady, and he says, "Give me your ride, lady. I want my ride, lady." Those are cool, very fun, but I'm gonna pick it for The Raft, definitely. Creepshow.
Yeah, that one story where he gets hit by the car. Thanks for the ride, lady.
Thanks for the ride, lady. That's the line. Yeah,
thanks for the ride. What she does to him, he keeps coming back, man. It's great. Yeah,
love it. Yeah. But the only thing about the second one is that they don't have the Crypt Keeper in it. They have that troll kind of character.
Yeah.
Which is awful.
Yeah.
Do you know why that change was made?
I don't know. It's probably some kind of rights thing, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Cool. All right, my number three, I'm going to go with The Dead Zone. David Cronenberg's The Dead Zone right here. Christopher Walken. Everything Rich said before. This probably out of all these films we're talking about, if we were doing this ranking like 2 years ago, wouldn't have made my top five. But
I know, same with me.
it wasn't until we did the Cronenberg ranking that I
Yes.
rewatched it. And I'm like, holy crap, this movie is
Yeah.
so good. And it's like,
Yep.
I guess back in the day, because I remember the book is really good, but the book is like a thriller too. And I remember back in the day, I was like, the film's not scary enough, blah, 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 blah.
Right, right. That was a disappointment, yeah.
But now
it's because you're thinking Stephen King, you're thinking horror.
Right.
But you don't realize that he does so much different writing and different stories.
Yeah.
You kind of got to take them for what they are individually, appreciate them for what they are,
For me, The Dead Zone, it's like, I mean, when I rewatched it, because I hadn't seen it in like a long time, I was on the edge of my seat. And it's like, it's tense. The whole film is tense. And you feel for his character. And you're like, every scene, just like you're sitting on the edge of your seat. And you're like, wow, what's coming next? So, So The Dead Zone is my number three. Excellent film.
Cool. All right, two and one, right?
Yep.
So two, I'm going to go with Pet Sematary.
Aha, all right.
Yeah, which was
not the remake, I'm sure, right?
I saw the remake. I thought it was fun. I didn't think it was bad. It's hard to live up to an original, as we all know, but sometimes a remake works for what it is. And I thought this was one of the few horror remakes that was actually funny.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't some kind of a abomination or something. It was well done. Like Evil Dead was a fine remake too, I thought.
Yeah, different and brutal.
Different.
My God.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. But I like the way it maintained the brutality of the original. It just took out the fun part of it. Well, the first one's not fun. The second one, Dead by Dawn. So yeah, Pet Sematary was 1989. It's about the cemetery where you take your pets when they pass away and bury them. They're supposed to come back to life, but they're not the same.
No, they changed.
No one's the same when they come back from there, right? But yeah, great acting, great story. You got a few big actors in there too. We got in there Fred Gwynn,
Herman Munster himself.
Herman Munster, yeah. And who's the leads? The father and the mother.
I forget their names. We've seen them before.
We've seen them before. Yeah. Mary Lambert, that's the mother.
Yep.
Who we've seen before. Yeah. And Dale Midkiff. I know I've seen him before too. I just can't think of where it's from.
Yeah, they were popular actors in the 80s. They'd show up in TV shows or movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the first Pet Sematary. I just question. I have a hard time with Hollywood remaking films that are like barely 20 years old. I mean, that the original came out in 89. The next one came out in 2019. I mean, I know I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you want to remake stuff from like the 40s and 50s and 60s even, but when you're in like the 2000s, you're remaking stuff from the 80s and 90s. I'm like, it's like,
yeah,
it just seems too soon. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what? If you want younger people to experience these stories, re-release the originals in the theaters and let them experience it.
Exactly.
Like it should be. I mean, I don't understand the concept, but it's just whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
And the first one was well done. I didn't think there was anything that needs to be improved. So
no, really good movie.
To redo it was kind of unnecessary.
Yeah.
But not terrible. It was very similar to the original, I thought. They changed a couple things. Switched the main character, the kid, from a boy to a girl. But I always liked the original.
Me too. Yeah, it's in my honorable mention for sure. I think it's fun. It's fun. I just watched that recently too. My number two might surprise you.
Okay.
I think this is Dynamite. The book was great, or the story was great. And this is an example of where you take a short story, although the original story is not that short. It's one of his what do you call like a short story that's actually pretty long, like a novella, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Anyway, the story is great. And I think the movie is fantastic. It's one of his most underrated films, and it's pretty terrifying. And it's like quite honestly, it's very ahead of its time because a lot of the themes in this film is stuff that's been going on for like the last couple of years.
I think I know what you picked.
The Mist.
Guess what I'm going to talk about next? This is one of those episodes where we have almost the same picks. You notice that we've done that a bunch of times.
Yeah.
The Mist. Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
oh, good.
The special effects are great. I mean,
Incredible.
I love creature features, right? That's what it comes down to.
Creatures are so well done. You can't tell the difference between puppets and CGI.
Yep.
Right? Just blends so well together. Love it.
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead about the themes.
Yeah, the themes, it's all about bringing people together who don't know each other or do know each other. And then all of a sudden, everybody insisting on picking sides. And instead of them all working together to deal with the shit that they're dealt with, no, gotta pick sides and fight amongst each other. It's what's going on every day here in this world.
Because of what their beliefs are, and they can't put them aside and just say, this is what we have in front of us.
Right.
Creatures that are coming out of coming through the glass, and they're all different sizes, and they have venom and whatever else they do to kill you. Tentacles. Remember the one creature with the tentacles?
Yeah.
Flying things and wing things and everything going on. Really
you can't
cool.
See them. The out there, you can't see them, and you don't know what
you can't see them.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't put the differences aside and just say, this is what we have in front of us inside of the supermarket. Let's use it to our best ability to survive.
Yep. Yeah.
But like you said, everybody wants to be the boss, and everybody's got to, can't keep their beliefs, put them aside temporarily.
Yeah.
And just it's for the greater good of everybody else.
Greater good of everybody else. And it's it's like me. This is what I believe. Even though I'm seeing it with my own two eyes, I don't believe it. And you're wrong. And we're not going to do it your way. And I think the casting is great. I mean, there are some truly despicable characters in this film.
Yes.
And how about that, like, complete gut punch ending?
The decisions people have to make for their own survival in this movie is great.
Yeah.
Do you do it for yourself, or do you do it to help your, fellow man next to you? Do you help out everybody else, or do you just help you and yourself if you love, just yourself, or like the father is, for instance, with his son?
Yeah.
He's basically doing what he has to do to save his child.
Yeah. Yeah. And we won't give away the ending if you haven't seen it.
No.
The whole movie takes you on this ride that, like, you just you're exhausted, and then the ending, you're kind of like, it's like one of the bleakest endings like ever.
Yeah, and you don't want a sequel because it leaves it off as this is. I'm just going to say this is the end. Like, it doesn't get better after this.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And Tom Jane is terrific in it, I think. And the whole cast is really good. I mean, there's a lot of people in the film that you've seen before. And what's interesting is that any fans of The Walking Dead on AMC, you'll see a couple of actors who were very prominent in the first couple of seasons of The Walking Dead are in this film, which is kind of neat, But I
forgot about that. Who are they? Who's one of them?
I'm trying to remember the names. The blonde.
I'm still watching. I'm watching the 11th season of The Walking Dead right now. So
they're all gone from the show now. But the old guy. God, what were their names? I'm drawing a blank. Do you remember the old guy in the very beginning of the show? He got killed off, I think, in season 2. He was one of the original characters. He's in this film. The blonde.
I'm looking at the cast right now.
Yeah.
Maybe I can find their name.
I forget the blonde's name.
Okay.
He in the comic, she's actually in a relationship.
Oh, Laurie Holden.
Yes.
She plays. She was in one of the, I don't know, second, third, fourth, maybe fifth seasons. I want to say.
Yep.
Somewhere around there.
Yep.
Yes.
She's the one in the show. She gets into that little relationship with the governor in that whole season.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Laurie Holden's one of them.
Yep.
And the lead is Thomas Jane is the lead.
Thomas Jane, otherwise known as the Punisher from that second Punisher film. Yep.
Right. Not the actor who played the Punisher in the Netflix shows.
No.
Because he's in The Walking Dead.
He's in The Walking Dead.
He's the brother of Rick.
Or
Right?
his best friend, actually. His best friend, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Who? Wow, it's been 10 seasons now, so
That's crazy, right? Yeah.
trying to remember all the way back to that first season.
Yeah.
First two.
He's the best Punisher, by the way. He's the Punisher.
Yeah, I think he's gonna come.
John Bernthal. Yeah, he's the best Punisher by far.
I think he's gonna show up in the Marvel movies.
That's what I heard.
Maybe him and Daredevil.
Not to derail the conversation, but you're going to see.
We're totally in the Marvel universe now.
Shang-Chi tomorrow.
Him and Daredevil. Daredevil, Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what I hear. We'll see. We got a couple months for that yet. So
awesome.
Yeah. All right. So that was my number 2. That was your number 1, and my number 1 is actually The Shining.
Oh wow! I was gonna say that's one of the movies that I was never the biggest fan of.
Really? Wow. Okay. Cool.
I enjoy it, but not. I see its importance. It's very important to horror, but I've never been the biggest fan. Maybe I don't know. Convince me. Why do I need to watch it again?
Well, it's a terrific Jack Nicholson performance, and I think what I really like about the movie. See, and we've seen lots of movies that kind of do this, but you see this descent into utter and complete madness in a character, and at its core, it's kind of like a haunted house film, even though it's a haunted hotel, right? And a lot of really screwed up stuff happened in this hotel over the years. And here you have this family, and that's one of the best things about it. There's this claustrophobic feeling of The Shining, which I absolutely love. So you really, just envision yourself. You're stuck in this old creepy hotel with just your young son and your wife
in the snow
in Colorado, and in a really bad snow for 3 months. You got no phone, or nothing, right? There's no contact with the outside world. And Nicholson's character already has got issues because he's a recovering alcoholic, right? The marriage is kind of on shaky ground anyway. The kid's weird, the wife is weird, and you're the struggling writer who has had writer's block for a while now, and you're thinking this change of pace, you're going to get paid very well to watch over this place, that hopefully it'll spark your creative juices. You'll write that book you've been trying to write. You're trying to deal with your alcoholism and all that kind of stuff, and here you've got this haunted hotel, the Overlook Hotel, and I just think this film is just absolutely creepy and menacing, and when I watch it, I feel like, God, I would hate to be trapped in that place for all those months. Even though the place is gigantic, right? Where are you going to go, right? And I just think it's a great depiction of a guy just like
losing it
into madness. Yeah, big time.
I'm going to rewatch it again. It was never one of my favorites, but like I said, I always appreciated it and enjoyed it for what it was, but not the biggest fan.
Yeah, and Stephen King himself is not a big fan. He thought that Stanley Kubrick took way too many liberties in this film, that and it does differ from the book a bit in spots, but I almost don't care. Sometimes you can change the way a book was laid out and make a better movie by changing certain things, and I think this was one of those, because I don't always agree with that, because there are a lot of times I've seen movies based on books where I love the book and then I'm like, oh, the movie changed all this stuff, it doesn't work. The Shining, however, I think it works really well. So it's a great performance, and by everybody in the film. And did you ever see Dr. Sleep?
I haven't, but I want to watch it.
Yeah. So
is that a semi sequel or a direct sequel?
It is. So it takes place like 20 or 25 years later. So the kid now is a grown up, and there's no. Nicholson obviously is gone, right? And I think his mother, God, I don't even remember if his mother's in the film. She's really old, or she passed. I don't remember. But now all of a sudden he's starting to exhibit a lot of the things that were happening with him in the original Shining. A new cast of characters and all this other stuff. The book is really good. Movie's pretty good too. I would. It's probably worth, if you're going to explore the both of them, go out and grab a hold of both of them and watch them back. So even though they don't really have a lot to do with each other than the fact that, his character is now older and you kind of know that, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
So any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I had it. And I like the remake too. I thought the remake was great. The two parts. One of the few times a remake works and it upgrades and improves on the original. Like we've talked about before with Hills Have Eyes.
Yep.
Love and appreciate the original for what it was. It was the 70s though. So now when you see the newer one from, I think it was the 90s, right? When they did it? Early 2000s?
The new It?
No, the Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, The Hills Have Eyes. Yeah, that was
maybe late 90s.
Either late 90s or very early 2000s.
Yeah. One of the few times that your makeup effects and technology benefits and improves your ideas from the original.
Yeah.
But still keeps the same storyline and the same concept. That's one of the few times it works. So I think that worked with it as well. The original is great for what it was, but now with special effects, it's an R rating too, so it's gorier and everything. It's more terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of them. Cujo's another one of my honorables.
Cujo's really good, yeah.
So that was great. I always felt that was all the dog doing all that stuff. It felt so real. It still looks real because it's so grimy and dirty and it's out in the heat and everything and it just works so well.
Have you seen the documentary on that? Because it's funny how by the way they shot that and all the camera tricks and angles and things like that, like you said, you really think that the dog is doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
You watch the documentary, not at all. I mean, they literally had to kind of coax him with hot dogs and things to get, and the dog was so goofy and lovable. It's funny how it comes across completely different.
Yeah, the way they shot it and the way they cut it works great.
Yeah.
You would know.
And here's another thing. We, as viewers, get the impression that it was 100 degrees inside and outside that car.
Yeah.
D. Wallace Stone said that it was freezing those couple of days they shot that. It was literally 30 or 40 degrees outside. But yet, I'm sweating just watching them, right? I'm like, oh my God, it's got to be so dank and disgusting in that car. No, they were freezing.
And then my other one is Misery, of course.
Oh, Misery's great. Yeah. Misery.
Crazy. How crazy is oh my God, the woman, what's her name again?
Kathy Bates.
Yeah. Who's in a lot of the series of American Horror Story. Do you watch that series?
I used to. I don't watch it anymore, but yeah, I used to.
Oh, it's so great. She plays such a great character, whatever season she's in.
She's
but her in Misery.
She's awesome.
When she takes out the sledgehammer, I felt it.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God. And
she was a nobody. She was a nobody when she got that role.
Right. Yep. That made her, that gave her break.
Yeah. That's a really good film. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of scary when you think that, and the book is great too, but these people who just get twisted, driven, when it's they put all their eggs, they worship, these stars, and it just makes them nuts,
That was a great story. Yeah. Another one that's a thriller, not a horror movie.
True. Yeah. Although it's pretty horrific though what happens, but
it is pretty horrific, couple scenes, but it's more of a thriller than a horror movie.
Yeah.
I think of thriller, I want to say thriller because people that are not fans of horror movies can watch something like that.
Yep.
They can watch Misery and enjoy it because it's got horror elements, but it doesn't go for all the blood and the guts and stuff like that, the traditional horror things.
Yeah, and that's what's so great about the writing of Stephen King, because he a film like that has horrific elements, but the horrific elements are coming from actual people. There's nothing supernatural in this. There's no monster. Right. The monster is actually just a normal person, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, what do I have here? I have again, not really a horror film, but amazing. The Green Mile. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so great good. Such a heartfelt story too. I also had all three of the It's actually, but I'm really impressed with the most recent ones. The only thing is, I mean, God, they made two of them, and it's a lot, right? It's almost like, but it's such a massive book. It's almost like you can't tell that story in 2 hours. You just can't.
I think it works. I think it works as two movies.
Yeah, and that Pennywise is pretty scary.
Yeah.
I mean, most people
Yes.
any Pennywise is scary because people hate clowns, but
Yeah, and I like the way it shapeshifts, takes different forms to terrify people. That's very cool.
yeah. And the ending was well done. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and the same with the original miniseries. I thought the ending was
Mhm.
fantastic too. I think a lot of people that I've talked to and reviews that I've read prefer the first part as opposed to
Yeah.
the second part. They like it when it centers around the kids and less so
Mhm.
about the adults. But I think you have to got to tell the whole story because it's
Right.
integral to the story itself. So
Yeah.
I had Misery down also. I had Pet Cemetery down also. I actually enjoyed Children of the Corn as well.
I was just looking at that. I was going to ask you, how do you feel all these years later watching Children of the Corn? Does it still work?
I watched it not long ago, and yeah, I dig it. I like it.
Mhm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
not one of his top best, but I like it. It's
And the special effects are totally a product of their time.
oh yeah.
You could tell it's 1984.
It's the special effects are nothing intense. They're kind of cheesy,
Yeah.
but it's okay. It's good acting. Again, it's another one of those, and I feel like I've watched so many films in recent months where you have like children who are, you know, going up against adults and like you know, the kids are the evil ones here, you know. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's kind of like reversing the role, right? Which is kind of weird.
Right.
Yeah, I dig that. I also, even though it's like you watch it now and it's like, again, you talk about special effects and it's like it's some of the worst werewolf special effects ever, but I have a soft spot for Silver Bullet because
Yeah.
it's a great story. It's a really great
Right.
story.
It is.
Could you imagine if they had a better like werewolf costume?
Right. Like, yeah, it's tough to follow up American Werewolf in London or The Howling. Like, those are my two favorites.
It's like even pump a little bit more money into the werewolf costume and werewolf effects,
Yeah.
even a little bit, because you've got
Yeah.
a totally like whacked out Gary Busey in this, and you got
Yeah.
Corey, very young Corey Haim, and I love the story. But man, every time that werewolf comes on screen, you're kind of like, "Eesh."
Yeah. Yeah. True.
But fun, and you know, I mean, there's others. I still have not watched. I haven't seen the original miniseries of The Stand in a million years, and I haven't seen the remake. I do want to watch that, but I kind of want to reread the book first before I do that because I haven't read The Stand in like 30.
I didn't see The Dark Tower. Like, I know that was a movie. I didn't see that. I heard it was terrible.
Not very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That should have been fantastic. It's not very good.
Yeah. Okay.
There's others that are fun.
There's a lot.
I think I didn't mention probably the cream of the crop here.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, there you have it, everybody. Our 5 favorite Stephen King film adaptations, film and series adaptations, I should say, and some honorable mentions, but I'm sure there are going to be others that people like that we haven't mentioned. So in the comments below, please list your favorites, your top 5, your top 10, whatever you'd like to do. There's some good films here, and these are fun to revisit. And that's the one thing I like about these films and, you know, the stories themselves is you can revisit these every couple of years and find things that you like about them, and in some cases find a greater appreciation. I mean, we both talked about a couple that we like more now than we used to.
The Dead Zone. The Dead Zone. Yeah.
Dead Zone for sure. Yeah. I've grown a much greater appreciation for Carrie. Christine also. I watched Christine on 4K recently.
That's another good one.
Yeah, really good. You know, so yeah, some good. And Creepshow for one. Creepshow has grown on me like fungus over the years. I mean, I just great stuff. So cool. So there you have it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Like I said, we will get back to you next week, hopefully, with the Camp Blood show, which, of course, Rich, we have a set for you as well of all the films. So next time I see you, I'll get you yours as well. But want to thank Rich for at the 11th hour hopping on today. Like I said, we have missed him here on the channel. Good to have him back. We'll be seeing him again.
Back again.
Not too distant future. Yep. So Rich will be back once again. We've already been talking about some stuff we're going to do. So stay tuned for that. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. You got anything you want to plug before we go?
Just that I'm, still busy writing for Metal Asylum and Brave Words when I got time. Reviews are always going up, every week or every other week. So look out for that when you got a chance, when you're looking for your metal music and for me, what's new out there, what's good out there. So still busy writing that too. Yep.
I was just reading your review today of the new Night Ranger.
Enjoyable. like I said, but
yeah,
you
I mean,
know,
I don't know if you saw my review here. I think it's well done. The songs are really catchy. I find that the more I listen to it, the less I like it. And there's like 3 or 4 songs I like a lot. And the rest of it, I'm like not liking this kind of like modern country thing.
country. Yeah, that's what I noticed too.
And it's not bad because they're
No,
good.
no, that's why I think I gave it a 7. So it's not great, but it's not bad. It's kind of in the middle there. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, I just don't know if I want Night Range doing that kind of stuff. I think that's the problem I'm having.
Yeah,
But it's definitely not terrible by any means. I just don't know how much mileage I'm going to get out of it personally, you know. But there are 3, 4 songs really, really good.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
You got Brad Gillis and Jack Blades,
Kelly Key.
Kelly Key, the drummer. So
Yeah.
3 of the original guys are still there, and the keyboard player is still original too, right?
No, I think he's a different guy.
No,
He's been around for a while.
So
Fitz is gone.
3 of the 5 members are still original.
So, but it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
So cool. Thanks
and
for
Iron
watching.
Maiden comes out tomorrow too.
What's that?
Iron Maiden comes out tomorrow, so that'll be another review everybody's gonna be writing about soon.
Yes, exactly. I have to make it. I was going to order that from Amazon. I'm thinking I may try and go to the local shop. I can either go to Drive to Rock Fantasy or just there's like a tiny little FYE right here, right down the street that really sucks, but I'm sure they'll have it. So I might just I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to Steve's place. So I may just go and pick it up there tomorrow morning or something like that. So we'll see. Cool. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Click that notification bell, all that good stuff. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. I think I already said that already. But anyway, just in case you forgot, that is the case. For Rich Catino, I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching the Monsters Den. See you next week and see you tomorrow morning with another edition of favorite live album by year. We're going to be at 1970 tomorrow morning. And then, of course, Martin Popoff back in the house once again. We're going to be talking about some of the greatest album bombs in rock and roll history. So that's coming up tomorrow morning, and album homework assignment on Sunday. Stay tuned for that and more. Thanks for watching. Take care, everybody.